Welcome, everyone, to another fantasy football mock draft here on Couch Potato Diary. My name is Peter Klein. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're listening, thank you for downloading. Please remember, rate, review, subscribe wherever you can. If you are watching, thank you. And again, a subscribe, a like certainly goes a long way in helping things out. So, if you've missed the first three, we are doing a mock draft from every spot in the fantasy football draft this year, from a 12-team half-point PPR, just kind of, splitting the difference, and just seeing what strategies work, what strategies don't, and where things kind of go wrong and where things go right. So if you like that, thank you very much, and let's get this thing going. So once again, we're using, not a sponsor, but we are using the Sleeper app. So we go here. We have the 4th overall pick today. We were surprised when we did the 3rd overall pick, and it was Justin Jefferson who happened to fall to us. So let's see how this one plays out today. We want to start. Yes, we do. And we are underway. So this one goes off a little bit surprising, as it goes Jefferson, McCaffrey, and then Eckler with the 1-3. So now we have the opportunity to take Jamar Chase. If this is how things fall to you, we have already spent too much time on Jamar Chase, on thinking about this one. It is 100% Jamar Chase without even a question about it. Kelsey goes next, then Cooper Kupp. So a run on wide receivers before Bijan and Saquon Barkley bring the running backs back in. It's going to loop back around to us. First quarterback goes off the board at the end of the first round in Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen also off of the board as well. So now it comes back around to us. We are in a spot here where we could go at running back, the best available: Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Travis Etienne, and Breece Hall. At wide receiver, it's Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith. There's obviously, and at quarterback, there's Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, and Justin Herbert. So there's a few different places we could go. For ADP, it would suggest that we go Tony Pollard next. As this thing is going along, like, Tony Pollard, I think, is a very good running back, no question about it. I do think we're getting into overvalued point with Tony Pollard, where, like, a second round pick, man, that's might be a little rich for my blood. Again, I think he is a talented running back, but holy crap, I don't know if that's where I want to go. We've been kind of caught reaching tight end before. The strategy that's been working so far has been loading up wide receiver early and then bouncing in with the running backs a little bit later on. There's none of the running backs here that I absolutely love that I'm not going to wait on necessarily. Same thing, like the quarterbacks, there's some that I like, but there's enough there that I like. But I do think there's a bit of a break here between Wilson, Waddle, and then Olave, Higgins, and Devonta Smith. Even, you know what, Wilson might even be where that tier breaks. So we're going to go Garrett Wilson here and lock in our two starting wide receivers in here. All right, and what I was hoping to happen did, in that Ramondre Stevenson remains there. I am totally fine with my dude, Ramondre Stevenson, being my number one running back. I think he's going to have a great year in a Patriots offense that should be a little bit better. Even though I'm not as high on the Patriots, I think the offense will be a bit better. I think Ramondre is going to have a big year, even with Ezekiel Elliott there. So I will absolutely take Ramondre Stevenson in that spot. And now, as it loops back around to us here, another run on wide receivers. Man, I would love to. I think later on we're going to be getting Calvin Ridley, but drafting out of these spots, it just hasn't made sense yet. But Calvin Ridley is rocketing up these boards. There was a time where we missed out on Ridley because we went Darren Waller in the 3rd round, or in the 5th or 6th round. Now we're missing out on him because we went Ramondre Stevenson in the 3rd. So the big thing here is that 3 more quarterbacks went off the board: Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. So when we look at the available quarterbacks, it's Fields, Lawrence, and then I do believe a rather substantial drop. So that has me concerned a little bit. At running back, it's Aaron Jones, Damian Pierce, Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, and Cam Akers. Wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and Drake London. London is a nice sleeper one, but at the 5th round might be a bit much. At tight end, there's a few that are available here. I think we can wait on some of these and try to get a little wraparound here. So I am going to go with Aaron Jones, and we're going to lock in our starting running backs. We already got our wide receiver set. Let's lock in our starting running backs, and then we can take one of the, what are being called now, onesie spots, where you only have one of them with the starting quarterback and starting tight end. So we're going to go Aaron Jones. Another tight end comes off the board. Another quarterback does. If Trevor Lawrence comes off, then we're not going quarterback and we're waiting till the end. So now we're in a spot here where there's either There's still 3 or 4 tight ends that I'm okay with. So we're going to wait on tight end. At quarterback, like I said, there is a tier break here, I think, between Trevor Lawrence and the rest. And you can see an ADP. For those of you watching, Trevor Lawrence's ADP right now is around pick 57. Deshaun Watson's is pick 85. So there's a very obvious tier break. I don't want to be dabbling in the any tier below this. Quite frankly, this is already a tier below where I'm comfortable. But we're going to roll here with potential franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence and just go from there. So this is now at a spot where depth, I think, starts to become an issue at the wide receiver spot. Christian Watson is kind of that tier break, I believe, for me as well. After that, Godwin, like, I'm not as sold on. Javonte Williams is a running back who we've been getting a little bit in these. He is gone off the board. So now as it loops back around here to us, Goddard has come off. So this is where I'm probably going to go Darren Waller. I don't want to come out of these without a high-level quarterback and a high-level tight end. That's just, I don't think playing the streaming game this year is going to be as valuable. I think there is a real fall-off, especially at tight end. After Waller, you get into Evan Ingram, and then it's Freiermuth, Njoku, Dalton Schultz. Like, it falls off very quickly. So I am going to take Darren Waller and just not worry about working in the muck with some of those this year. And now it's time to build our depth up a little bit here. So at running back, it's Pacheco, Montgomery, James Cook, A.J. Dillon, and Antonio Gibson. And at wide receiver, it's Christian Kirk, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Jordan Addison. I'm kind of an Addison guy, but I think we might be able to wait one more round for him to come back around to us. The running backs, I still think there's a few of them that we can be okay with. The wide receivers, this is where we've been talking about before. We want to be building that depth up because it falls off, I think, quicker this year than running back, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to go here with Deontay Johnson. I think he is a very talented wide receiver with Pittsburgh, and I think his continued progression is really going to help. I don't think that's going to be a very good Steelers offense this year, but I think he's going to be a big part of it. So we hoped that Addison would come around to us. He clearly is not. So that's a bit disappointing that it ended up breaking that way for us. But now here we are once again with the 9th pick in the 8th round. For those of you who are wondering if we would have waited, Dak Prescott's still available, Tua is still available as well, and Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers, and Kirk Cousins. For the running backs, it's Rashad Penny, Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, and Samaje Perine. At wide receiver, Treylon Burks, Kadarius Toney, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, and Michael Thomas. So of those names there that we like, I'm believing the talent in Khalil Herbert this year. I don't think that it's so strange. We were so behind him when he was the number 1 or the number 2 running back in Chicago. Now he becomes number 1. Like, where is the energy that Tony Pollard's been getting for Khalil Herbert? So Khalil Herbert is going to absolutely be locked in there as our pick. And as it comes back around to us, a number of wide receivers go off the board. I didn't love that. So I feel kind of compelled here to go wide receiver one more time. I'm going to go, man, a lot of the talk that you hear out of Baltimore is that Zay Flowers might be the kind of odd man out in that offense right now. So that is kind of concerning me a little bit. But he's so talented. I think he's going to be good. But if I want a part of Baltimore, I think it makes sense to go Odell Beckham Jr. here instead. So we are going to go with Odell. And it's not showing up on the overlay here. But it's... Oh, are we just not allowed to make that pick? What's going on here? All right, so there appears to be a bit of an issue with the website, which is frustrating. Odell Beckham Jr. There we go. Got it to pick eventually. We were really committed to that. So we have, after that, a run of running backs come off, and then Tua Tagovailoa comes off a quarterback, and it does appear like things are once again slowing down, which the last time meant that we were auto-drafted. So, but... that's part of it. Sometimes you're going to have shaky internet. Sometimes you're going to have a couple of issues with connectivity. So looking at the players that are available right now, so it's at the 9-9 where things have appeared to have frozen, or Team 9 is just taking their sweet time. But Zay Flowers is available, Brian Robinson, Anthony Richardson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Aaron Rodgers. If we hadn't gone quarterback early, Anthony Richardson is certainly a quarterback I would have no problem taking a bit of a gamble on. I think that he has a lot of the talents that some of the high-end quarterbacks have, and you hear some of the prospect people talking, and he is someone who a lot of draft people are and were quite high on. So it's an exciting player there. If you want to kind of mix that with a more reliable quarterback a little bit later on, you certainly would be well within your rights to do that. Tua going at 9-8, he is one where I think he's going to win and lose a lot of drafts, I think, this year and a lot of leagues this year, because if he stays healthy, then there is no way he is not repaying 17th or ninth round value, sorry, or 17th. But it's the injury concern. So again, if you can match him up with a more reliable quarterback a little bit later on with a bit more of a safer play, that is certainly a way to go. But so that is why I'm a bit more comfortable rolling the dice at quarterback in these drafts than at tight end. But to just kind of recap where we are as the time ticks down on this pick, at wide receiver right now, we have Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Deontay Johnson, and Odell Beckham Jr. At running back, it's Ramondre Stevenson, Aaron Jones, and Khalil Herbert. We have Darren Waller as our tight end. And at quarterback, we have Trevor Lawrence. So it has come back around to us. Bateman's off the board. Cortland Sutton off as well. Aaron Rodgers has gone. We had a pretty good run on quarterbacks there in that area. Zay Flowers does end up going, so we can't really tie things in there. So let's look at what's available right now. At running back, it's Devon Achane, Damian Harris in Buffalo, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Algier, and Ezekiel Elliott. We could just lock in the running back position with New England right now. But at wide receiver, Jamison Williams, Allen Lazard, Sky Moore, Adam Thielen, and Tyler Boyd. You know what I think we're going to do here? Because I feel pretty safe in our wide receivers. Beckham is a bit of a home run swing. We're going to take another home run swing. We're going to go Jamison Williams. I think that the suspension sucks for sure, but I think he is so talented, man. I think that this is going to be really interesting to see what he does in the back part of the season. That feels like someone who could be a league winner as this goes along. So it swings back to us. After we went Williams, it goes Devon Achane, Damian Harris, Allen Lazard, Elijah Mitchell, Adam Thielen, and Sky Moore. So running backs that are available, Algier is still there along with Zeke, and then Raheem Mostert, Tank Bigsby, and Condre Miller. At wide receiver, it's Boyd, Jacoby Myers, Rashee Rice, Darnell Mooney, and Romeo Doubs. I don't love any of the options here, to be perfectly honest with you. So one thing we've done a couple of times here, we're just going to lock in the Patriots running back room and go Ezekiel Elliott. That feels like a strong value play there. I think that Ramondre is going to get the boatload of it, but if something happens, I think Zeke is going to be able to step in, and it at least gives us the opportunity to kind of read and react and see what happens in the New England backfield. So the first defense and kickers have come off the board now, with the Jets defense coming off. Oh, we've actually had a run on defenses here in the 11th round. That's interesting. So this is something we've noticed early on, and now as more drafts are happening, this is starting to pivot a little bit more, because a lot of these are based off of ADP. So before, we were seeing around now, like around the 13th, 14th round, teams were taking their defenses and kickers so they could get a kind of a step on it. But now, if that's starting in the 11th round, that might be a little bit too rich. But what did we just go over? At 11 there, we took Ezekiel Elliott. Didn't love any of the options that were available. And so in that spot, maybe it doesn't hurt to go kicker and defense here. At this point, it does feel it feels like we were on the wrong end of the run. So now we are going to wait until 14, 15. But I was seriously considering going defense and going kicker now if we hadn't been on the wrong end of the run. But because it's at this point, is it worth reaching on a Baltimore or a Miami or a New England? Maybe a Miami, because Vic Fangio is there. And honestly, you know what? After all of that, you still see a good defense there. You still want to take it. So I think the pros for Miami, Vic Fangio is there. That they have made some upgrades. Ramsey's hurt right now, but they've made some upgrades on the defensive side, and they have the best defensive coordinator in the league. So yeah, we're going to go Miami Dolphins defense. We're going to keep that defensive train rolling. We are absolutely waiting till the last pick to go kicker. That is no question about it. So another defense and another two kickers went off the board along with quarterback Jared Goff. So now at running back, Tank Bigsby is still there along with Devin Singletary, Jalen Warren, Rashawn Johnson, and Jeff Wilson. At wide receiver, it's still Myers, Rice, Mooney, Doubs, along with Jonathan Mingo. I think there's a couple of very good value plays here. Jeff Wilson being available, I think like he just is always hanging around in running back spots. He's probably third on the depth chart right now, but I think he could work his way up. Jalen Warren, I do not believe in the talent of Najee Harris. I think Jalen Warren might actually be a better running back. And so I think there's an opportunity there to take advantage of that situation and jump out with have like a real strong depth play there. And I think Romeo Doubs is going to have a real say in that Green Bay offense. So right now, as honestly, same with Darnell Mooney. So looking at it right now, we're going to play the ADP game here. We're going to go Darnell Mooney and hope that maybe some of those, at least one more of those options is available when it swings back around to us, and then we can go kicker with that last pick. So we are hoping uh, we were hoping that a couple like Jalen Warren wasn't going to go. He does get drafted. So that's one of the home run swings that has kind of left our left where we were going. Romeo Doubs as well was someone that we were kind of hoping would stick around. They haven't. So Jeff Wilson was the one that we were hoping for. So Jeff Wilson is going to be the one that we take in that spot. And then it's going to come back around to us with the kicker in this last spot. We are going to go Brandon McManus because he still has a very big leg. And that is your draft. So from the fourth spot, we didn't really go heavy in one position early. We once again made sure we had all of our starters locked in by the end of the sixth round, which gets us Lawrence at quarterback, Waller at tight end, our starting wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson, our starting running backs, Ramondre Stevenson and Aaron Jones. Our flex will probably be Deontay Johnson, but Khalil Herbert is certainly an option there as well. And then for depth at wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., Jamison Williams, who we think can be a league winner, Ezekiel Elliott with his strong depth, Darnell Mooney, and Jeff Wilson, a couple of home run swings, defense, Miami Dolphins, and Brandon McManus. So I feel like we're coming away here with another pretty well-rounded team. At 3, we kind of reached on Waller, but here at 4, having another extra pick there, or a bit of extra room, I suppose, makes us like this pick a little bit more this time. So once again, liking how we're coming away from this one. So if you have any thoughts on how this draft went, or if there's a strategy you want us to try out in the remaining 7 of these, by all means, leave a comment below, subscribe, and like on YouTube. If you're just listening, leave a review, rate, review, subscribe wherever you can. And thank you so much for downloading. My name is Peter Klein. You can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. I'm at Primetime Klein, twitch.tv/primetimepk, and you can email my show, couchpotatodiary@yahoo.com. Coming up on the show on Wednesday, we go through our top NFL players of all time as our NFL season preview continues. It's also CFL Power Rankings Day, and we'll get into whatever happens with the Blue Jays game tonight against the Baltimore Orioles. Thank you all so much, and I will talk to you all later.